first. I am Kadojo. I play the handsome dragonborn Silverclaw.
The one that looks like Dolph Lundgren.
I'm not so handsome, but I'm Citizen Guy, and I play Zelos, the rogue who's headed to become an arcane trickster in the next session or two.
I'm Ruthoin. I'm playing Rurak Spleen Splitter, the Mountain Dwarf Barbarian, and I'm only just slightly more attractive than the rogue in the party.
I'm Stormwolf. I play Krivgar the Bard of the College of Lore, and of course, I'm the bad, not the great-looking one of the group.
Hi, I'm Mystaria. I'm playing Misty, the Fiend Warlock. I am a pretty awesome half-elf, even if my hotness score is not nearly on par with Kadojo's. And I've got the story recap for tonight. So, at the conclusion of our third session, we had defeated a mixed bag of cultists and guards outside the mill. From there, we entered the mill and found 8 more inside, 2 on the ground floor and 6 in the loft. We focused on those on the ground floor while taking pot shots from those in the loft. Cultists leaped from the loft to aid those below, but 3 of the 4 landed poorly, ending up prone and easily killed. We were awarded 90 XP and a gold at the end of this fight.
Oh, technical, I like it.
After returning to the keep, we were given some healing potions, and our rogue was able to sneak an additional potion. Good job.
Sneaky,
we met with Governor We met with Governor Nighthill and Escobar the Red. As our talks concluded, guards reported a large group approaching the keep's gate. The group of cultists were accompanied by a half-dragon and a dragon lady, possibly Resmir. The half-dragon, Lendragosa, issued a challenge for single combat and proposed to release hostages if the challenge was accepted. The hostages were the family of the sister of one of the sergeants of the keep's guards. Silverclaw immediately took up the challenge and advanced on the half-dragon.
Got his ass whipped.
He was able to hit Lendragosa, but was flattened by the half-dragon's first swing. Now, a boon from the gods helped him regain his feet, but he was again flattened. Before he reached death, the dragon lady intervened, calling Lendragosa off and releasing the hostages. After this encounter, Governor Nighthill offered a generous contract to us to acquire intelligence on the cultists. He wanted to know who their leaders are, what motivates them, and what their plans for attack are. We agreed to his terms. They were rather good terms, actually.
250 gold. Ka-ching.
Ka-ching.
Wasn't that split 10 ways? I'm just kidding.
No. That was each.
No, it wasn't, but I'd be glad to buy you a beer after this is over.
Now, after we agreed to his terms, Nessin Waladra, a monk, joined our talks to ask us to watch for his master, Leosin Lanthar. His master had been taken by the cultists in an earlier raid. Leosin had long studied the cult, and Nessin thought that he'd be very helpful to us if we came across him in our mission. We were awarded 50 XP for the encounter with Lendragosa and had an opportunity to fill up our combat supplies. We each now have a healing kit. We're much smarter players as a result. Both Zelos and Misty have given Rurak one of our healing potions. The potion Rurak found on the skeletons of dwarves, has been identified by a cleric as a potion of greater healing. We are now well poised to track the cultists back to their camp, as they have left us an easily identifiable trail. We hope it is not a trap.
Excellent recap.
And the only thing that comes to mind is the only thing that comes to mind is after hearing it's a trap, not a trap, is that one guy from Star Wars saying it's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Misty, you forgot the most important thing of the entire night. Kadojo giving his petrified goblin hand, aka the stranger, to the priest of the temple
God,
so
don't
he could
call
try
it
to
that, Dave.
recap.
Do I really want to remember that, Dave? Is this really relevant to playing the game?
Yes, the stranger was given to the priest of the temple.
Don't
And
give.
so we shall end the story here tonight.
Okay, Dave.
Just kidding.
Don't name it that, Dave. Seriously.
No, it's the petrified goblin hand.
Don't encourage chat. They're bad enough.
I think every night it's going to reappear in his pack.
The only thing that comes to mind now is, and so the petrified hand animates and chokes Kodojo.
I like it. That's a good idea.
It nearly fucking did.
All right, so you guys met the monk. You know that you're looking for a half elf. His name is Leosin, and his basically one of his students was Nessun, as Misty actually talked about in her the recap. Well, Nessun is looking for his master. Nessun was roughed up pretty bad during the invasion to actually Greenest itself. He's not able to, apparently he's not able to join you. He wishes that he could, though. But he is limping pretty badly. He is bandaged up pretty well. So you guys have, found out what Nighthill wants. He wants to know where the camp is. He wants to know how many raiders there are total. He wants to know who the leaders are, all of the leaders. And he wants to know what is motivating these attacks and where they plan to strike next, if you can find out any of this information. So, also, Nighthill, just as a refresher for you, Nighthill always wants, he wants you to bring back more of the pillaged and looted, all of the personal items that have been taken from Greenest, as much as you can get back, so they can get those back to the citizens of Greenest, so they can get all of their, their family artifacts and treasures and whatnot back to the appropriate owners. So if you find any of that, he encourages you not to keep it, but to get it back to the rightful owners, and he will make sure that he does do that. So what do you guys think? You guys had a great rest. It is a new day. It is about midday. The sun is shining. There's still some smoke coming from small sections of the town. What are you guys doing?
Well, you did say that there was tracks leading off, and there was kind of bits of almost like discarded loot or dropped loot.
Yeah, sort of like a trail.
Stuff.
Yeah. There's a coin or maybe a bead or a pearl every once in a while. Sure, yeah, absolutely. The scouts had actually gotten back to Nighthill and informed him, and in turn, Nighthill informed you that the trail was going east.
How far did the scouts follow it for?
Several miles, but they weren't trying to be too cautious with their hiding of any tracks that they were making. They literally pushed down as they were traveling across the green fields. Literally, there was a massive chunk of grass that was just pushed over. It looked like they weren't traveling single file or anything. I mean, they were literally, traveling in a massive group, and you're able to follow this push down grass pretty much the entire way.
Okay. Is this through forest, or is it kind of plains, or?
It's grasslands. Some points it's the grass is 2 to 3 feet tall. Hasn't been mowed in quite a while actually. We need to get the ogres out there and get it mowed with their giant lawnmowers.
Well, we've obviously already agreed to do this, so it might make sense just to figure out how best to fulfill that agreement. I presume charging off after them without a care in the world is not necessarily the wisest move. So, how do we want to go about it?
Well, there goes my idea.
Well, the one thing that Night Hill did tell you as well is the grasslands, they go for around 12 miles before there's any kind of terrain change. So you've got probably about 12 to 13, 14 miles somewhere in that area east, and it is just basically open land. I mean, there's several small villages as well, but you guys already know that those villages as well were pillaged and ransacked, probably by the same cult, the same group of kobolds. But it does, like I said, the guards had followed several miles, and then they could see into the distance, where they could see for miles and miles more, where this grass just was pushed over, as the horde of kobold and cultists were just leaving Greenest, not really caring. They weren't trying to hide themselves. That's for sure. Yes, Ralph.
We killed plenty of cultists, didn't we?
You did. You killed quite a bit. I would say you killed at least a couple dozen. Can we salvage any robes or anything from them? Sure. Yeah, there's quite a few dead bodies. The town really hasn't been cleaning up any dead bodies yet, because they've been worried about getting their grub on and celebrating during the morning festivities. But yeah, there's plenty of dead cultists around that you could probably grab some robes and some goods.
I'm a bit concerned that the dwarf's going to look like Gimli in Lord of the Rings when he puts that set of chainmail on with the robe.
It's tall grass. Nobody will notice him.
Yeah, you get
I just need to keep my head down.
Ya?
Just keep your head down, yeah. I'm just thinking possibly, even if it gets us close enough that we can maybe take count of numbers and stuff.
No, we can do that from a hilltop from far away-ish.
It would allow us to get closer, probably.
Well, for you two, maybe, but I'm a dragonborn, and they can 6'8" dragonborn. They can pretty much spot me, even if I was wearing a cultist robe.
Hey, remember, there were half dragons amongst them as well.
They have dragon leaders.
Yeah. So I mean, there were half dragons,
not dragonborns.
Yeah.
No robe for you.
It's definitely not. But they have drakes. They have kobolds. So I don't know. It's a chance you may want to take. Maybe you might not want to take it. Maybe you and Krivgar can hang back and let the other humanoids venture into wherever you're going. I mean, that's a possibility as well.
Impersonating a kobold.
Oh my god, I want to see that.
Well, what's this about, Krivgar?
Why don't we have the dwarf just act as a prisoner?
And myself and Sissenguy, we would lead it up.
Take all of my weapons from me?
No, they'd be hidden behind you.
I think we put
kind of hard to hide that big axe there.
Yeah, it's as big as I am.
I think we put Dolph Lundgren in the lead.
Well, Dolph could lift it. Yeah.
I think we have Silverclaw be the.
I'm just saying we could use that as a kind of last resort, last gasp attempt to kind of not get jumped on by the entire camp if it happens.
I like the idea of the stealthiest of us scouting a little bit ahead to try and find any sort of sentries that might be left behind. But as soon as we actually find a group, depending on the situation, we can either decide to sneak ambush or try and use our robes to get closer and talk.
Well, I am the stealthiest of the lot. I shall be first.
I like it.
It'd be slower going,
but safer.
Yeah, we'd be less likely to be ambushed ourselves. I mean, come on, it's an obvious trail. Obvious.
Well, they are pretty sloppy and stupid, so.
Obvious trails lead to ambushes in the woods. We've been playing this game quite a long time now.
So again, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'll lead. Why doesn't Misty follow me?
I'm pretty sneaky.
Then we'll have Silverclaw and his prisoner, the dwarf, and the bard will guard the rear.
Hey Dave, would I know if this if some of the higher ups would know about the difference between a metallic colored dragon and a, I don't know, prime color, I guess? Or
Oh, you mean the chromatic and the metallic?
Good and evil, yeah.
Wicked
yeah.
paint, yeah.
Now, are you talking about what, the cultist?
Yeah, the cultists, if they know.
They would know big time. Oh, they most definitely would, yeah.
Well, no, the metallic would be good and chromatic would be evil. Would they know that?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
That's
I don't
something
think I
that
can
would
be able to sneak
common
in.
knowledge. Yeah, it definitely probably wouldn't be common knowledge. That's well, it would be common knowledge, but you don't know. They had many different mercenaries there as well. I mean, there are mercenaries of all races, shapes, and sizes. So this is something that you guys will probably want to think about later down the line, possibly, if it comes to that.
Let's all remember right now that the bard has a theatrical makeup kit.
Disguise the dragon's color?
And I suggest that we don't just directly follow the trail. I mean, like, be off to the side from it.
Keep it in sight, but don't travel on it?
Aye.
Well, now what's this about my disguise kit? You want me to do what with it?
If it becomes an issue, we can perhaps disguise Silverclaw as the evil type of dragon that he would like, well, as an evil type of dragon, period.
What, you want me to color him blue or something?
Dojo, what would we need to color you to help you hide?
Any chromatic color, so blue would probably be best to keep in theme here.
They're gonna color him. I love it.
You've got maybe like one of the cultist robes on, and it's kind of there's the cowls over your head.
I love it.
You might be able to get away with just being able to do the face and maybe your hands or something.
Maybe. Dave, how big is the biggest robe we can find?
Actually, you actually found one off of a Dragonborn. Not quite as tall as you, but there was a robe from a pretty big humanoid. I mean, there are robes for every type of race there.
Alright. So we have the robes. We should either don them now or don them when we feel the need. Obviously, if we come across anyone else, they're going to assume that we're cultists immediately.
Yeah. I still think
they might even stay away from you. And Rurak looks to the Dragonborn saying they might keep a wide berth from you as well.
Wait, which Dragonborn? There are two of us here.
Well, you're the one that's 6'8" and built like a tank. So I think it would be you.
I still think we should have the rogue
Sneak ahead,
sort of
yeah, of
scout,
course.
sneak ahead and scout up ahead.
Definitely.
Just a little ways, not too far ahead. If he spots anything, have him report back.
So I'll scout ahead of the group, and we're going to parallel the trail and try to hit the high points so we can see ahead of us and see what might be laying in front of us before we barge in.
I think that sounds great. Did we miss anything?
Goodbye, Governor Nighthill. We'll see you on our return.
Good luck, my friends, and I hope you find what we are looking for. I will have your payment upon your return. Of course, with the correct information that I'm seeking for, of course. Although that doesn't take anything away from, you basically single-handedly saving the city from us, I still do appreciate that as well.
Nighthill, I have one question for you before we set off completely.
Sure. And what is the question that you ask?
And I gesture towards the obvious trail. I believe it's leading east.
It is heading east, yes.
What are the closest towns to this one heading in that direction that we may want to keep an eye on?
Well, I can take you guys back to the Sword Coast map real quick. And you can see that Greenest is here. To the north is Burdusk. That is where the monks were from. And remember, the monks went to Candlekeep, to the Great Library. And on their return, that's when all hell broke loose for them. To the east, there's Easting. Rather fitting. And then there is Erebor. Those are the towns to the east. And pretty much, there's a lot of smaller homesteads and everything between here and Burdusk. They were also ravaged and pillaged as well. So,
can we do maybe a history check or something to if we know anything about those villages?
Sure. If you want to, sure.
Erebor, just.
Can we all do that?
What city would you like to recall any kind of historical knowledge from?
Erebor, because it sounds like Erebor.
It's closest.
And it's also to the east. The trail leads off to the
This
east.
is delayed a little. 18 was my first one.
This is history?
Yeah.
Correct.
I don't think there's anything on Erebor in here. And I looked on the wiki, there's nothing on Erebor. One second. Looking up the Forgotten Realms wiki real quick.
That way we can maybe know more about the inhabitants. Maybe they're all humans, maybe they're all elves.
Alright, so basically, Erebor is a pretty large city in the Sunset Vale, which is basically in the western heartlands of the Greenland region. Basically, it stood on a sprawling ridge above the North Fork of the Keonthar River. It is known as the Overland City and the City of 1,000 Spires, and that's pretty much what you know. It does have a ruling government as well, by Lord Braun. It does have it has a military and whatnot as well.
Okay,
a small one.
Was that for me? Was that for all of us? Was
That's
that
for you. That's for your 18. So.
Okay, well I'll relate that to the rest of the party. That's the little I know of it.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like typing all of that out. So.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so let's head out.
So we may find some leftover regiments and army even after that town is ransacked. It might be something to keep in mind. Do we know how to identify them?
Identify who?
If it would be someone from Erebor, does Ralph know what sigil they might bear?
Yeah.
The symbol you're not too sure of, but I'm sure if you run into any of the the roaming forces, maybe the cavalry, I'm sure you would probably find out rather quickly. Especially being that this is a predominant Greenland area, especially this region of Faerun is basically all grasslands and Greenlands. Chances are you probably could run into some type of riding cavalry. Pretty good chance, actually. Especially the closer that you get.
If we're going to disguise, we need to be able to get the disguises off quickly.
So maybe it's better if we don't disguise right away.
Just keep them in our packs until then we can make a decision when we maybe get to the camp.
Yep, that's why we're having guys scout a bit, and I'll assist you with that.
Plus, there's not going to be any.
Play
Plus, there won't be any confusion if if a guy gets seen or something because he's a half elf rather than a dragonborn, so there could be a little confusion, possibly.
So I have a
I
question.
figure.
Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead, Mist. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say if we fail tricking the bad guys, we can just kill them. If we inadvertently fail telling the truth to the good guys, probably don't want to kill them.
That
So
would
I'd
be a
rather
bad idea.
be mistaken the correct way, where we can just kill things.
So who all is taking one of these cultist type of costumes that you're going to be probably using? Sounds like.
The dwarf's not going to take one.
Misty for sure.
You don't. Okay, so you don't want to take one, really? They could
No.
maybe you could make some stilts or something. That would be pretty cool. Like, you know, the knights who say knee, you could kind of walk around like that.
Well, the whole premise was that Rurak was going to be a prisoner if it came down to it. I think the dwarf would be really difficult to pass off as a kobold.
Well, there were cultists there, so he could be a dwarf cultist.
How tall are you?
4'6".
Hey, you're about a foot taller. You could just be one big ass freaking kobold.
How heavy did you say kobolds were?
They're like 35, 40 pounds.
Right. Well, I'm like
50 pounds maybe.
Well,